I'm truly grateful to have you here, because the message I'm about to share could be the turning point you need to unlock your real potential and finally start living the life you've always imagined. We all know mornings matter. They set the rhythm for the rest of the day, the week, and in many ways, your whole life. But what if I told you that by simply changing the way you talk to yourself in those early hours, you could change everything? No long speeches, no complex rituals, just a few words, simple yet powerful, that can reset your mindset, strengthen your sense of control, and awaken your inner strength. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In today's video, I'll share with you 15 things you should say to yourself every morning to help you live with more clarity, resilience, and purpose. Watch until the end. Don't skip even one, and leave a comment. I choose to live intentionally. If you're ready, let's begin. 1. Today is a new beginning. Each time the first light of morning filters through your window, it's more than just another biological cycle. It's a quiet yet powerful reminder. You've been given a second chance. Not everyone gets that gift. So the moment you open your eyes, remind yourself, today is a new beginning. This isn't just a motivational phrase. It's a doorway to freedom, to choice, to the belief that you are not defined by what happened yesterday. In the spirit of Stoicism, the past has no power over you unless you hand it that power. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Yesterday, whether it brought hurtful words, bitter failure, or poor decisions, does not dictate who you are today. What matters is how you respond this morning. Picture this. Yesterday you lost your temper with a colleague over a small misunderstanding. You went to bed with regret. But today, as you wake up, you hold a new power. You can choose a different attitude. You can send an apology, greet them with a smile, or simply decide not to carry that weight forward. A single choice can turn today into the first step toward real change. Every morning is a blank canvas. You are the artist. What will you paint on it? A dull copy of yesterday, or a renewed version of yourself, braver, calmer, more compassionate? And remember, a new beginning doesn't mean you have it all figured out. Sometimes it's just the quiet resolve to get out of bed, splash water on your face, take a deep breath, and say, I will do better than yesterday. Because when you face the day with intention and grace, you don't just build a better day, you shape a purposeful life. And it all begins with one simple choice: to embrace today as a new beginning. 2. I have the ability to do great things. It's easy to fall into self-doubt. When plans don't work out, or when you compare yourself to others, you start asking, am I really good enough? Do I even deserve to dream big? I understand. I've been there too. But I'm here to remind you of this. You are capable of great things, not because others say so, but because that potential has always lived within you. Every person is born with a unique gift. Even if you've failed, been overlooked, or doubted yourself, none of that reduces your true worth. You've already faced challenges before, using resilience, instinct, and a will that refused to quit. And if you've done it once, you can do it again and again. As Epictetus said, no great thing is created suddenly. Nothing worthwhile is built overnight. Success isn't magic. It's the result of showing up consistently, even one small step at a time. Believing in yourself creates ownership, and ownership leads to action. That wisdom reminds us, greatness isn't loud or instant. It's steady, it's persistent. Take Vera Wang, for example. She once dreamed of being a professional figure skater. That dream didn't work out. She pivoted, spending 17 years at Vogue, later working with Ralph Lauren. But her defining moment came at age 40, when she couldn't find a wedding dress she loved. So, she designed her own. Many thought she was too old to start fresh, but she didn't let age decide her future. She followed her passion with full intention, step by step. Today, her name is synonymous with elegance and excellence in bridal fashion. Her journey proves you don't have to start early. You just have to start with conviction. So each morning, don't just wash your face or brew your coffee. Pause. Look in the mirror and remind yourself, I am capable of great things, and I am ready to receive them. And once belief is in place, the next step is always action. But how do you act? How do you turn potential into reality? Stay with me, because the next part, today, I will take action, holds the answer you've been looking for. 3. I will act today. I know the feeling, the urge to wait just a little longer until everything seems perfect, to wait until I feel more ready, more skilled, or less anxious. But here's the truth, the perfect moment doesn't exist. It's an illusion that only delays action. Meanwhile, the only moment you actually have control over is right now. And if you keep waiting, precious days slip by unnoticed, and you don't move an inch closer to your dream. Success, whether big or small, always begins with a single step. It never comes to those who sit and hope. It comes to those who move, even if the steps are shaky, unclear, or uncertain. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. You don't need to know everything before you're allowed to start." Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. He didn't wait until he was perfectly educated in electrical science. He acted. He tried, failed, learned, and tried again. Each attempt carried him closer to a breakthrough that changed the world. Or consider J.K. Rowling. She wrote Harry Potter while unemployed, living on government support, scribbling in cafes while her baby slept. Nothing was ideal, yet she wrote every single day, a little at a time. She didn't wait for inspiration. She didn't wait for money. She didn't wait for success to knock. She acted. And that action transformed a struggling single mother into one of the most influential authors in the world. You don't need a flawless plan to move forward. You just need to begin. Every morning you wake up is a reminder. Today is a chance to make a difference. Not through grand gestures all at once, but through small, consistent steps. Tell yourself, today I will take action. I will not wait. I will not delay. Every step I take today, no matter how small, matters. And I believe it is bringing me closer to my dream. 4. I am capable and confident in my ability to handle whatever comes my way today. This morning, you might wake up to a packed schedule, an important meeting, unanswered emails, or a tough decision waiting. Your heart beats faster. There's anxiety, a flicker of doubt. Can I really manage all of this? That's when you pause, take a deep breath, and say, I am capable, and I trust my ability to handle whatever comes my way today. Life never promises ease. Some days flow smoothly, others feel like everything is against you. And that's why this affirmation matters. It doesn't deny the struggle. It doesn't pretend you'll always know the right answer. but it reminds you of this truth. You've made it through so much already. Today will be no different. In Stoic thought, strength doesn't come from avoiding adversity. It comes from facing it and mastering your response. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This affirmation is your morning reminder. You don't need to control the world. You only need to control yourself. And you can. Whatever challenges today brings, rejection, conflict, or a difficult decision, you already have the tools to face it. You have resolve, you have reason, you have calm. These qualities are within you. They just need to be awakened again. Remember, confidence is not arrogance. It's the quiet belief that you'll figure it out. You don't need to see the whole path. You only need to take the first step with a steady mind. And this morning, that step is a reminder. I am capable, and I believe in myself. If you've ever had a day that began with doubt and ended in triumph, share it in the comments. I overcame myself. Because your story may be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. 5. I am grateful for my health, my loved ones, and the opportunities I have. Every morning, I remind myself of this. Not because life is always easy or perfect, but because as long as I can wake up, as long as I can breathe, as long as I can see the sky, I still have a chance. Gratitude doesn't only appear when everything goes well. It's a choice, a habit, sometimes even a deliberate act that pushes against the weight of life. And it's in the hardest times that gratitude shows its deepest strength. Health. Maybe you've never really thought about it until you lost it. But imagine this. You woke up this morning without pain, not in a hospital, not hooked up to machines. That's a gift. Loved ones. Not everyone has someone to check in on them, or someone willing to listen when they're exhausted. And opportunity, no matter how small. It's proof you're still in the game of life. Many people no longer have that chance. A powerful example is Nick Vujicic, a man born without arms or legs. At just 10 years old, he wanted to end his life, feeling completely hopeless. But instead of focusing on what he lacked, he chose to be grateful for what he had: a sharp mind, a strong heart, and an unshakable spirit. Gratitude is what allowed Nick not just to survive, but to inspire millions across the globe. He married, had children, traveled the world giving talks, and proved a timeless truth. When you live with gratitude, you live deeper, stronger, and you reach for things that once felt impossible. So every morning, whether the sky is bright or gray, whether life feels smooth or stormy, pause for a moment and remind yourself, I'm grateful for my health, for the people who love me, and for the opportunities, however small, that I still have today. Gratitude doesn't erase struggles, but it gives you the perspective to face them with inner strength. 6. I am not afraid of failure. One of the greatest obstacles that held me back years ago wasn't a lack of skill or opportunity. It was fear of failure. I once avoided starting a project simply because I was scared of doing it wrong. I turned down a job offer because I believed I wasn't good enough. And then, after far too many missed chances, I finally sat down and asked, what's the worst that could happen? The answer wasn't nearly as terrifying as I thought. Failure wasn't the end. It was a pause, a comma, a step back that gave me momentum. We're often taught to avoid mistakes at any cost, but if you look closely, you'll see that no great achievement comes without scars. Every successful entrepreneur has faced bankruptcy. Every great artist has been rejected. Every wise person has been painfully schooled by life itself. So why should we feel shame in failing? It was only when I dared to face and learn from my first real failure, a small business where I lost every bit of my savings, that I discovered lessons of patience, discipline, and courage that no book could ever teach. That failure didn't destroy me. It shaped me. And from that point on, I began to see things differently. I came to believe God doesn't allow failure to punish us, but to teach us. What looks like an obstacle may be His way of molding us, not to break us, but to train our patience, resilience, and inner strength. I realized failure isn't a mark of weakness. It's a sign that a process is in motion, a process guided by God, even when the destination is unclear. Perhaps it's through those stumbles that we truly learn to walk, with faith that we are being led to the right place, at the right time, to become exactly who we were meant to be. So now, every morning, instead of avoiding failure, I choose to embrace it as part of the journey. I choose to move forward, even when I'm afraid, even when I'm unsure, and to believe I am not afraid to fail, because failure is just part of the path to success. And I hope you'll begin saying the same to yourself, starting today. 7. I will face today with a positive attitude. In 1962, Nelson Mandela entered Robben Island prison with a life sentence. Locked away under brutal conditions for 27 years, he had every reason to grow bitter, angry, and hopeless. Yet each morning, in that tiny prison cell, Mandela chose to hold on to a positive spirit. He once said, "I have learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." That attitude, light in the midst of darkness, not only kept him alive, but turned him into a symbol of forgiveness, inner freedom, and the power to rise above hardship, to lead a nation. You may not be behind prison walls like Mandela, but in modern life, we still face invisible prisons every day. Work stress, family pressure, endless bad news, and unexpected setbacks. And in those moments, attitude is the one thing you always control. You can't direct everything that happens around you, but you can choose how you respond. When you begin your day with a positive mindset, you're not denying reality. You're choosing to face it with intention and hope. A positive attitude isn't naive. It's an act of courage. It's seeing the challenge and still believing you'll make it through. It's knowing something bad may happen, but refusing to let it define your spirit. And the beautiful thing is this: when you choose positivity, you don't just improve your own day, you radiate it to the people around you. I want to pause here and thank you for sticking with me through the first half of this video. That tells me you're truly investing in yourself, rebuilding from within, choosing awareness, action, and inner strength. Thank you for being here. And I hope you'll stay with me until the end, because what's coming next is even more powerful. Now let's continue with the next affirmation. 8. I will treat myself kindly. We often think of kindness as something we give to others, but it's just as important to direct it inward. Treating yourself with kindness means accepting and forgiving your own flaws and mistakes, much like how you'd treat a dear friend or loved one. It requires reflection and a personal commitment to compassion toward yourself. When we practice self-kindness, our mental and emotional health improves. We live happier, more fulfilling lives. Yet sadly, Many of us find it easier to say cruel words to ourselves than we ever would to anyone else. A small mistake, being late, missing a chance, forgetting a detail, can trigger a storm of harsh self-criticism. I'm terrible. I never get anything right. We become our own worst bully, even while showing grace to others. That isn't just unfair, it's deeply damaging. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Self-kindness starts with changing how you respond to your own missteps. Instead of punishment, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I make tomorrow better? For example, if you fall behind on an important goal, like keeping up with your morning exercise, instead of scolding yourself with, "I'm so lazy," try reframing, "Maybe I set the bar too high at first. Today, I'll try again, even if just for 10 minutes. Self-kindness also lives in the little things. Resting when you're tired, saying no when you need to, eating a warm meal when your mood is low. Each of these acts quietly reminds you that you are worthy of care, even in your imperfect moments. So each morning, repeat this truth. I will treat myself with kindness because I am worthy of love, patience, and forgiveness from myself. 9. I am responsible for my own happiness. Many of us grow up believing happiness comes from the outside, from success, money, the perfect partner, or some milestone we must reach before we can feel complete. But as life unfolds, we achieve some of those things only to realize that if happiness arrives, it's fleeting. It doesn't stay. Why? Because we've handed over the power to decide how we feel. Stoic philosophy teaches something different. Happiness isn't about circumstances. It's about how we respond to them. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." We can't control everything that happens, but we can always control how we respond. And that's where our real power lies. I once had a friend named Cindy. She went through a painful breakup, lost her job almost at the same time, and had no family nearby. Yet instead of breaking down, she started each morning by writing down 3 things she was grateful for. She found joy in the little things: a warm cup of coffee, a sunny afternoon, a good book. Over time, her mood shifted, not because her life suddenly improved, but because she reclaimed control of her emotional state. That's when happiness returned, not loud or dramatic, but quiet, deep, and real. Each morning when I look in the mirror and remind myself, I am responsible for my own happiness, I'm choosing to live intentionally. I refuse to blame. I don't wait for others to make me happy. I don't let my environment dictate my emotions. Happiness is a choice. It's an action, a daily commitment to myself. So today, what will you choose? Are you ready to take responsibility for your own happiness? Leave a comment. I choose to take responsibility for my own happiness. And I'd love to hear from you. What's something that made you feel happy today? 10. I have control over my thoughts and emotions. Life never runs out of surprises, and not all of them are pleasant. Some mornings, a single message can throw you off balance. A careless comment may sting for hours. A disapproving look, an unexpected setback, or even just a traffic jam during rush hour. All can stir up powerful emotions. But here's the truth. None of those things control you unless you let them. The Stoics understood a simple but life-changing truth. You can't control everything that happens, but you can always control how you respond. That is where true freedom lies. Your mind is sacred ground, and you alone hold the key. Picture this. You're walking to work, and suddenly a stranger yells insults at you for no reason. Your chest tightens, your face flushes. But if you pause, breathe, and ask yourself, do I really want to hand over control of my emotions to this person? You feel the shift. Choosing not to react impulsively isn't weakness, it's strength. Being in control of your thoughts and emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It means observing, understanding, and responding deliberately. You may feel anger, but instead of letting it drive your actions, you choose calm. You may feel disappointment, but instead of complaining, you choose to seek perspective and learn. Each morning, this affirmation reminds you of your power. No person, no event can knock you off balance unless you give them permission. And never forget this, you always have a choice. Even when the outside world is chaotic, your inner world can remain at peace. Say it out loud. I am in control of my thoughts and emotions. Today, I choose peace, positivity, and strength. 11. I deserve success and happiness. There's a quiet truth that many of us go a lifetime without believing, that we deserve to succeed and we deserve to be happy, just as we are. No conditions, no proof required. From childhood, we're taught to work hard, sacrifice, even suffer before we can earn joy, as if happiness and success are rewards only given to those who pass life's toughest tests. But Stoicism doesn't teach that. It teaches that what we truly control is our mind, and our worth comes from how we see ourselves. No one but you can take away your right to a meaningful life, a life of love, purpose, and achievement. You don't need to do anything good enough to earn happiness. You don't need permission to succeed, and you don't have to prove your worth. Your very existence is proof you are worthy. Let go of the inner voice that whispers, you're not enough, not smart enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough, because you are enough, right now, as you are. Pause for a moment and feel it. You don't need to fight for love. You don't need to achieve to be accepted. When you believe in your inherent worth, the world begins to reflect it. The universe responds to the energy you carry. And when you move forward with confidence, gratitude, and an open heart, success and happiness aren't just possible. They become inevitable. Every morning, tell yourself, I deserve success and happiness, and I welcome both with gratitude. And if you're ready to open your heart even wider, join me in the next affirmation. Something small, but powerful enough to transform the way you see life. I choose gratitude over complaint. 12. I choose gratitude over complaining. Every morning, as the world still stirs awake, you have a choice in how to begin your day. You can dwell on what's missing, what's imperfect, the dreams still out of reach, and see a heavy day waiting ahead. Or you can choose gratitude. Gratitude doesn't mean denying hardship or ignoring pain. It means making the conscious decision to focus on what is present and good, no matter how small, and letting it lift your spirit. When you choose gratitude, you step out of scarcity and into abundance. Gratitude doesn't ask you to have everything. It only asks you to recognize what you already do. A warm cup of tea, a message from someone you love, a steady breath filling your lungs. Each of these is a miracle if you choose to see it through grateful eyes. In that very act of choosing, you reclaim your mind. Complaining is instinct. Gratitude is courage. Think of Nick Vujicic, born without arms or legs. He became one of the world's most inspiring speakers. He didn't choose to dwell on what he lacked. He chose gratitude, thankful for a strong heart, for the chance to live, to speak, to share. Nick once said, "I can choose to be bitter, or I can choose to be better." He chose gratitude, and his life became a beacon of hope for millions. So each morning, when you face yourself in the mirror, remember this: you hold the power to choose your attitude. Instead of complaining that it's Monday, be grateful you have another chance to live, to learn, to love, and to try. Gratitude doesn't always change your circumstances, but it changes you. And when you change, the world around you changes too. Leave a comment below. Today, I choose gratitude. And share the very first thing you're grateful for this morning. You never know, your words might inspire someone else. 13. I am complete in myself. In a world constantly whispering, you need to be more skilled, more attractive, more successful, it's easy to forget a simple, powerful truth. You are enough. Not after you achieve something, not when you finally become someone else, but right now, in this very moment, exactly as you are already whole. I know there are mornings when you wake up feeling like you're not enough. You scroll through social media, seeing others who seem to live more perfect lives. But that's an illusion. What you don't see is the journey they carry, the wounds they hide, and the silent comparisons weighing them down too. The truth is, you're not in competition with anyone. Your journey is uniquely yours. Your worth isn't defined by recognition or applause. It comes from your courage to be yourself, to live honestly and authentically. I once spoke with a young painter who constantly felt inadequate because her work didn't sell as well as others. She was ready to give up. But after reconnecting with herself, she realized painting wasn't about proving anything. It was about expressing her soul. When she stopped creating out of fear and instead painted out of love for the process, her art finally began to resonate with others. She didn't change to fit the world. She grew strong because she understood she was already enough. So each morning, when you face the mirror, don't just search for flaws. Look into your own eyes and affirm, "I am already whole." You don't need anything extra to be worthy of love. You don't need to fix yourself to be accepted. Wholeness isn't arrogance. It's deep acceptance. It means you can continue growing, learning, and evolving, not because you're lacking, but because you honor who you are. And when you live from this place of wholeness, the world begins to respond. Not because you've become someone else, but because you finally embrace being fully yourself. And those are the powerful affirmations you can speak to yourself every morning. Not just to start a good day, but to slowly build the life you truly want. Change begins with you, with the words you whisper to yourself. Thank you for listening and being here. If this video brought you value, please hit like, share it with your loved ones, and leave a comment. I choose to live with intention. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next video.